Hi, it's Dermot here from Crinoak. I want to talk to you today about probably the most controversial tool for Irish language writing, and that's Google Translate. Without a doubt, it is the online resource for the Irish language that causes the most debate and the most controversy, the most angst, and yet, in many ways, is also the most helpful for a lot of people. So the issue is that lecturers and teachers hate getting content that has obviously been translated from English into Irish on Google Translate. And also, people on Twitter and on the internet in general hate seeing tweets from government ministers, from departments in the government, and from prominent organizations that have also clearly been fed into Google Translate and taken out the other side in Irish. So I get all that. I get why this is controversial. I get why people don't like that. But for me, Google Translate is actually becoming a really useful resource. It's way better than it used to be. Yeah, you still have to be cautious when you're using it. You still have to know its limitations, but it is way better than it was a few years ago. And that's because Google are continually investing in their translation technology, and also because more is being written in Irish on the internet than ever before. So my friend Kevin Scannell, he scrapes the internet every month. He has servers running, looking for new Irish text on the internet, and he scours around looking for it. And all these automated robots go off looking for it. And according to the numbers that he's shared with me, there are over 2 million new words of Irish content published every month. Now, most of them are on Twitter, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's a lot of Irish being written and being pushed out onto the internet. So, what Google are doing is they're scraping all that as well. They're looking at everything that's happening and they're using that to feed into their translation algorithms. So, their machine learning has really been a game changer across the whole field of artificial intelligence and how they've implemented it for their translation. It's really transformed the whole field. And it's worked well for English and all the major language combinations. And now it's starting to work really well for Irish. There's still issues, but it is actually pretty accurate. But here's a tip I'll give you. The best way of using Google Translate is not going from English to Irish. It's actually going from Irish to English. It works much better in that direction because the Google system, the Google machine, is really well able to write English sentences. So it can take a badly formed Irish sentence and write a really good English sentence based on it. And what that means is that actually, for organizations and people and professional translators who have to produce documents in both languages, have to produce bilingual text, the Google Translate is a really powerful tool if they write the English, so if they write the Irish first. So it's a really powerful tool if they write the Irish first, and then, and only then, translate it into English. And yes, the English won't be perfect, but it'll be 80 or 90% of the way there. So it's actually a sub editing or an editing job to get that English up to 100% instead of starting from scratch, looking at a blank page with the Irish over on one side. So that works really well. But that's not how most people are using Google Translate. A lot of people are using it for their homework. They're using it for their college assignments, and they're using it to translate tweets and other messages they want to send out. And that's okay, but the thing about that is you're typing text in English and you're taking the text out in Irish, and it doesn't always work. Most of the time, it's okay. But even if you're going from French to English or any other language combination into English, you're going to have to read what's coming out the other end. So the same applies when you're translating text into Irish. You're going to have to read what comes out the other side and you're going to have to check it. And there are lots of tools available to help you check it, lots of automatic tools. So I've talked in other videos about Gael Spell and Inish, which help with spelling and grammar, and also Guiche.ie, which is fast becoming my favorite website because it has an amazing corpus of validated Irish language text. And you can search for words or fragments or phrases, fragments of sentences or phrases, and put them in there. And look, has anyone else ever written that before? So don't just take Google's word for it. Check if anyone else has ever written it before. But there's another step you can do, which is that if you think you've got a phrase right in Irish, and you're not sure if you got the order of the words right or if you got the grammar right, what you can do is you can type that into the box in Google Translate, mark it as Irish text, hit the translate button, and it'll convert it or translate it into English. And what you can do then is copy and paste that English and reverse the text translation direction. So what you're doing is you're writing your draft in Irish, you're translating it automatically into English, and then you're going to take that English, rub out the Irish, and you're going to go the other direction and see how Google would have written that Irish sentence. And that's a really great learning tool because you get immediate feedback. So, like a lot of other online resources, that immediate feedback is incredibly valuable because it means you can get that instant feedback without going to another human, without risking embarrassing yourself in front of a lecturer or a teacher. So, what you can do is if you think you got it right in Irish, type it in the box. No one's looking. See what the Google translation looks like in English. Hopefully, it looks roughly like what you intended. It has the same meaning. But then check how Google would have written it. And you could, by reversing the language direction. So you check, okay, here's the English sentence. How would Google have written it? And compare that with what you wrote. So you can actually start to use Google Translate as a learning tool. Now, it's not perfect, but it's getting better. And it's getting better not just because of that huge volume of Irish language text or words that are being written every month, but also because people are actually giving constructive feedback. So there's a feedback button every time you do a translation, and you can give feedback, and that goes into the algorithm. And I'm sure a human reviewer sees it at some stage, but it does mean that Google Translate is getting better. So that's a controversial thing to say, but it actually is becoming a useful resource. So go ahead, try it out, have some fun with it. Don't trust it 100%, but it is actually really good. And it's particularly good if you have text in Irish that you want to translate into English. So I'd suggest you have a bit of fun with Google Translate. Don't dismiss it. Don't let other people dismiss it, but don't write your essays using it entirely. You can use it to get to a draft, but then you're going to actually have to read what comes out the other end and check it. Not necessarily with a human, but yeah, you will have to check it. So I hope that's useful. Controversial, so leave a comment to let me know what you think, or drop me an email. You can subscribe on credo.com to my newsletter to get other tips. You can subscribe here on YouTube to watch other videos, and yeah, let me know what you think. Okay, so.